What do you think? Has the market fully priced in the number of departures from Adobe's products that it maybe you're trying out this other AI-driven stuff?
I don't think it's fully priced it in, and I think this is going to be a really big question mark. And when I look technically at this stock, Oliver, we're sitting literally right on the 50-day moving average. So we're going to get a move. We are definitely going to get a move, and the market's pricing in roughly about a 10% or so move either way. I think long run, this stock, I love those analysts that have that $600 price target. I just don't know that on this report, just given all of the overhang in the marketplace right now, even if we get a nice big beat, I'm not sure that we get that huge upside. So I am looking for this to remain somewhat range bound after this report and taking advantage of that, excessive option premium going into the print here. So I am looking at that 10% move either way here. I'm looking at technicals downside around 400, upside around 485. And selling an iron condor makes perfect sense to me. So what I'm doing is I'm selling this week's 405, 395 put spread on the downside. I'm selling the 480, 490 call spread on the upside. I can collect about $4. That's a hefty premium here. So this is a, move that I'm looking for either direction, but to stay somewhat within that expected move here. And by the end of the day on Friday this week, anywhere between 401 and 484, I make money. Outside of that, that's my danger zone, but I am completely limited in my risk because I'm using spreads on both sides.
All right. So I think that kind of fits the narrative of the product we're talking about, which is if the market hasn't priced in it at this point, then they're probably really deteriorating, in which case you could see another gap down like in the previous two. But also, given those two gap downs, if there's any sign that, maybe this is not as big of an exodus, I could see it ripping too. I could see people trying to find a hero in a down market, and that might come from a stock that's already been down a lot already.
It absolutely could. And actually, with this position, if I had to say that I was a little bit more concerned about one side or the other, it would be that upside. But I just think, again, that with the overhang of this market here, to get a complete blowout where this thing goes, above 500, I think is going to be very difficult. I like my odds here with the premium that I'm collecting.
Okay. And $4, as long as you don't have like a huge event. Here's the thing, Adobe also is kind of firm today and kind of looking pretty good, up more than the market. So how will that kind of change the price at which you get in if this thing does continue to rally?
We're right here at 440-ish, right? And so I'm looking at that basic 10% move either way, not giving it a bias, which is why I'm really targeting, 400, 485 or so. If we get a big move later in the day, maybe I'll go and adjust my strikes depending on where that move is. But, we can only make a trade based on what we know right at the moment, right? So this is what I see. This is what I like. Maybe I make an adjustment later, but I'll let this thing run and we'll look at it tomorrow and see what the move is like.